When I received the client's call, I had just attended the wedding of my 23rd husband. Miss Amelia, I hear you're a professional bride. Are you available tomorrow? I couldn't pass up such a great opportunity, so I immediately replied, no problem. But what the client said next surprised me. The groom was a deceased person. As a professional bride, I had been married 23 times, but all my clients had been living, breathing people. Who would want to marry a dead person? Just thinking about it made me feel uneasy, I thought for a moment, and said, I'm sorry, I don't take on such ghost marriage jobs. You should find someone else. To my surprise, the person on the other end started crying. Miss Amelia, I've checked, and our city only has your birth chart that matches my son's. Please help me? My son is only 23 years old. As parents, we can't bear to see him go through this alone. If you can help us with this, our family is willing to pay $30,000. I couldn't even bring myself to refuse. I really didn't want to take this job, especially since it involved dealing with the dead. It made me feel uneasy. But $30,000, $30,000 in an instant, Penelope's smiling face flashed before my eyes. I have no choice. I really need the money. And a lot of it. I exhaled slowly and said, all right, I'll take the job. However, at that moment, I didn't realize that from that instant onward, my life would begin to change. It could be said that I willingly walked into an extremely complicated situation. The next morning, I applied a meticulous makeup and arrived at the agreed location on time. To my surprise, there were no decorations at the village entrance, no crowd gathered to watch, not even a single double Happy Nesher actor was posted. As I was wondering what was going on, I suddenly realized the person I was supposed to marry was already dead. Why would anyone hold a grand funeral wedding? Nathan's father and mother had been waiting at the village entrance all along. As soon as they saw me, they walked over enthusiastically. Nathan's mother took the bag from my hands and smiled brightly. Nathan's father followed suit, smiling and casually asking, Miss Amelia, did you come here alone? I nodded. In our line of work, we never come in pairs. After all, a wedding only needs one bride. I don't know if I was overthinking it, but after hearing those words, Nathan's parents visibly relaxed and quickly led me to their front door. Miss Amelia, we're so grateful for your help, Nathan's mother said mainly. We didn't want our son to walk alone. Having you send him off gives us peace of mind. That's right, Miss Amelia, you're so beautiful. If only you could be our daughter-in-law. I wonder if we're lucky enough for that. As soon as those words were spoken, a strong wind suddenly blew through the courtyard. The wind blew the plaster off the walls, and I couldn't help but get goosebumps. Although I had prepared myself, the thought of seeing my late husband soon made my legs tremble uncontrollably. After handling Nathan's parents' affairs, I walked to the door of the new house. A large double Happy Nesher actor was pasted on the door, but it contrasted sharply with the eerie atmosphere in the courtyard, making it feel off. I took a deep breath and pushed the door open. The room was dimly lit, and there was someone sitting on the bed. But before I could get a clear look at the room's arrangement, Nathan's parents slammed the door shut. I gathered my courage and slowly approached the bed. Sitting by the bed was a man dressed in wedding attire, who looked quite handsome, though his pale complexion was unsettling. After all, this was my first time seeing a dead person, and I couldn't help but swallow hard. According to tradition, I should have started paying respects to heaven and earth. Nathan's parents had also set up offerings in the room, but at that moment, all my courage vanished. If it weren't for the 300,000 yuan, I might have already pushed the door open and run away. Just as I was hesitating, there was a knock on the door, and Nathan's mother's urgent voice came through the crack. Miss Amelia, we must hurry, don't delay the auspicious time. We're waiting at the door to give you the red envelope for changing your name. The 300,000 you were promised is already prepared. As soon as the ceremony is over, it will be transferred to your account immediately. Thinking of the 300,000, I felt a little courage return to my heart and forced myself toward the man on the bed. My 24th husband, Nathan? Just pretend he's asleep, I told myself. But just as I was about to help Nathan to the altar to pay respects to heaven and earth, a hand suddenly grabbed my arm. When I looked up, Nathan's tightly closed eyes had suddenly opened, his pupils black and terrifying. It was as if he had come back to life. He was still alive. I screamed as loud as I could, trying to crawl and roll away, but Nathan quickly covered my mouth and dragged me back to the bedside. Nathan held my mouth tightly, urgently whispering in my ear, don't make a sound, don't be afraid, I'm alive. I didn't die. He repeated this several times before I finally realized it. As Nathan stared at me, I trembled slightly and slowly reached out to grab his arm. His hand was warm, with none of the stiffness of a dead person. Could Nathan really be alive? But why did he pretend to be dead? Why did he let his parents arrange a funeral for him? Seeing that I had stopped struggling, Nathan released his grip on my mouth and asked softly, "Who are you?" When he said I was his arranged marriage partner, Nathan's brows furrowed. I never thought his fake death wouldn't change his parents' minds. How could they do this, Miss Amelia? I'm truly sorry. I had no idea my parents would come to you about the arranged marriage. It was entirely their decision. I was studying abroad and doing well. I never wanted to marry, but my parents forced me to return to carry on the family line. I had no choice but to fake my own death, thinking that would allow me to escape this family. But my parents came up with the idea of a ghost marriage. It seems that even if I were dead, they wouldn't let me go. Nathan's eyes were red, and tears trickled down the corners of his eyes. He clutched his hair tightly and looked at me with pleading eyes. Miss Amelia. No, Amelia, can you please cooperate with me and put on a show? Go out now and tell my parents the ceremony is over and have them send you out. Then I can escape while they're distracted. Please, I really don't want to act with Nathan. At that moment, what I wanted most was to know if I'd still get the 300,000. Maybe he noticed my worry. Nathan said again, "Don't worry. My parents promised to give you the 300,000, and I'll transfer it all to you. And if you're willing to help me out, I'll give you an extra 20,000 privately. Please, Amelia, I beg you? I really don't want my parents to control my life anymore. Although I don't want to get involved in this mess, seeing Nathan crying so pitifully in front of me made me feel a little soft-hearted. Plus, the 320,000 I'm about to get is a huge temptation for me. I didn't hesitate for long before opening the door and shouting, "Mom and Dad, the ceremony is over. I'm now Nathan's wife." Before I could finish speaking, I froze. In the courtyard, there weren't just Nathan's father and mother, there were also several neighbors. They were all looking at me with serious expressions. "You little girl, what's your relationship with Nathan? You said you're his wife and just got married today. Is that really voluntary?" The neighbors began to question me. Though it felt odd, I nodded out of professional duty. "Yes, that's right, I did it voluntarily. I'm his wife." Before I could finish, Nathan's father interjected, "See, this girl did it voluntarily. She has a good relationship with our son, Zio Hua. Please help spread the word. Our son has gotten married. When the baby is born, remember to come to the full moon celebration." Wait, this is wrong. This is clearly wrong. According to Nathan, his parents didn't know he was faking his death and were still grieving for their son. But Nathan's father mentioned grandchildren, which made it seem like they knew their son was still alive. I felt a surge of anxiety, thinking things were getting stranger and stranger. As the villagers prepared to leave, I blurted out, "Wait, I'm actually a professional." Before I could finish, Nathan walked out from the house. He was wearing wedding attire and smiling brightly. He suddenly pulled me close and kissed me. This intimate gesture undeniably proved our relationship, and the villagers all congratulated us. It turned out that Nathan had truly gotten married, and everyone was congratulating him. "We must definitely send some money as a gift next time. Old Williams, don't keep such good news to yourself next time. Let everyone share in the joy." A villager suggested, "All right, let's not disturb their happiness. Let's disperse." As everyone was leaving, he grabbed Nathan's father's hand and patted it gently, saying, "Old Williams, it's not your fault everyone was cautious. After all, your family. Never mind, let's not bring up the past now that Nathan has settled down. Everyone's well-being is more important than anything else." After watching the villagers leave, Nathan's parents closed the iron gate tightly. At that moment, Nathan also let go of my hand. All his previous weakness was gone, and his eyes were filled with determination. "Amelia, what were you about to say? You weren't going to say in front of everyone that I married a professional bride to deceive you? Were you?" I looked at Nathan, then at Nathan's parents. "What had happened? Your parents know you were faking your death, right? You went to such great lengths to deceive me. What do you really want?" Nathan's father walked over from the backyard holding a thick vine. "What do you want? Of course, we want you to carry on the family line." I was startled. I never expected this to be a human trafficker's trap. They deceived me here to force me to marry Nathan and have children. I instinctively tried to escape, but Nathan grabbed my hair and pushed me to the ground. Nathan took the vine from his father's hand and said, "Amelia, you publicly admitted that we're married. Why are you trying to run away now?" I suppressed my fear and looked straight at Nathan. "So you told me those things earlier because you were afraid I'd reveal the truth in public. Afraid the villagers would find out that your entire family are human traffickers. Let me go, or I'll call the police. Human trafficking is a serious crime. Your entire family won't escape punishment. Call the police," Nathan sneered. "I'll see how you call the police." The cane in his hand came down hard on me. The pain spread throughout my body, and I couldn't help but scream. Perhaps afraid my screams would attract the neighbors' attention, Nathan gave his parents a nod. Nathan's parents grabbed my arms and dragged me into the house, throwing me into Nathan's bedroom. As soon as they left, Nathan locked the door from the inside. "Amelia, you can't escape. It's best to accept your fate and marry me obediently. Once I have a son, perhaps I'll be kind enough to let you go." I clenched my fists. "You're dreaming. I have a younger sister outside. If she can't contact me, she'll definitely call the police. Your family is despicable for coming up with such a scheme to continue your lineage. I hope you never have any descendants." Before I could finish speaking, Nathan grabbed my neck. His eyes were filled with hatred. "You dare to say I won't have a son?" Immediately after, Nathan slapped me twice across the face. I felt a sudden darkness before my eyes and lost consciousness. When I came to, I found myself naked on the bed, my body aching all over. I immediately realized what had happened, but now wasn't the time for grief. I had to get out of here quickly. I searched the room thoroughly, but couldn't find my clothes. Worse still, my phone and cosmetics were gone too. It seemed Nathan had hidden my belongings to prevent me from escaping. Just as I was about to wrap myself in the bedsheet, the door suddenly opened. Nathan stood at the door, holding 2 steamed buns. "What, do you think I can't satisfy you? You want to go out dressed like that? Are you trying to seduce some man?" I clenched my fists. "Give me my clothes back and let me go. As long as you let me go, I promise I won't call the police." Nathan didn't believe me and ripped the bedsheet off my body. He stared at me for a moment before suddenly slapping me across the face. "Amelia, don't be ungrateful. Marrying me is your good fortune. You've been a professional bride 23 times. You must have been touched by many men. How could someone still want to take you?" It's truly shocking. Nathan's words enraged me, and I couldn't help but try to strike back, but he grabbed my wrist. Men are stronger, and he pushed me to the ground in a few seconds. Nathan placed 2 steamed buns on the table and smiled. "Amelia, I advise you not to try to escape, since I went through so much trouble to deceive you here. I will never let you leave. Stay here and give me a son. Once the child is born, perhaps I will let you go." I blurted out, "If you want to deceive me, you could have just pretended to marry me. Why go through the trouble of faking your death and arranging a ghost marriage?" Nathan shouted. "It's all because of that woman who ruined my luck. The fortune teller said I had to fake my death to ward off the misfortune." As he said this, he suddenly realized he had said too much and quickly covered his mouth. "Don't ask questions you shouldn't ask," holding on to the thought of staying put. I stared intently at his back. With a sudden burst of courage, I smashed the plate holding the steamed buns. I picked up a shard and pressed it against my throat, threatening him, "Let me go, or I'll kill myself here, and your entire family will suffer." Nathan stood there motionless, glaring at me defiantly. I clenched my teeth and swung violently, leaving a red mark on my neck. At that moment, Nathan's expression finally changed. He rushed over, grabbed the shard from my hand and asked, "Have you lost your mind?" During our struggle, the shard cut his hand, leaving a long gash. Anger made him lose control. Nathan angrily grabbed my neck, slapped me twice, then fetched a rope from the house, tied my hands and feet, and coldly said, "Amelia, dying isn't that easy. Even if you die, you'll have to give me a son." He slammed the door shut with a loud bang, leaving me lying on the ground, covered in injuries. Tears couldn't hold back anymore, flowing down like a stream. I deeply regretted taking this job and putting myself in such a terrible situation. And Penelope, how worried she must be, unable to contact me. But Nathan clearly underestimated my determination to end it all, though he had bound me tightly. I hadn't eaten or drunk anything for 3 days. Yes, I had made up my mind. I would rather die in this small village than give birth to Nathan's child. Who knew that 3 days later, Nathan's family started to panic? That day, I heard Nathan's mother and Nathan whispering outside, "Nathan, this is the second time. If you find another woman, The villagers will definitely suspect something. And didn't we have our fortunes told? Amelia's birth chart matches yours. She's definitely the one who can give us a son. We can't just let her die like this. Go and talk to her. Make her give up this idea. If she gets pregnant, she won't think about it anymore. Once the child is born, Amelia's affairs will have nothing to do with the Williams family. Nathan stood silently outside for a moment before nodding. Mom, to be honest, I really don't like Amelia. This girl might have been with many men before, but for the sake of the Williams family's future, I'll endure it. No sooner had he finished speaking than a creak came from the door. And someone entered the room. Nathan walked over carrying a basin of hot water and food. He locked the door from the inside, then carefully began to wipe my body. He hadn't returned my clothes in the past 3 days, and I hadn't bathed either, so I felt like I was about to stink. Amelia, why are you so stubborn? Do you really not want to live anymore? Even if not for yourself, think about your parents and relatives. If they find out you died here, how heartbroken they'll be. I suddenly found it a bit ridiculous. The person who tied me up here was lecturing me. It was absurd. Nathan probably saw the disdain in my eyes. He sighed. Amelia, I actually went to college. I know this is wrong, but I'm doing it for my parents. They've worked hard their whole lives, and their greatest wish is to hold a grandchild. This is my promise. As long as you give birth to a son, I'll let you go, and I'll give you all the 30,000 I promised you. After saying that, he pushed the food toward my mouth. Come on, take a bite. I looked at him and obediently opened my mouth to eat. Actually, over the past few days, I've come to terms with it, rather than waiting here in obscurity to die. I might as well pretend to be obedient for now, and then find an opportunity to escape. From the villagers' attitudes, I realized they don't like Nathan's parents and definitely won't take their side. If I can find someone in the village to help me, I might have a chance to escape. And even if it's just to see Penelope one last time, I have to hurry and regain my strength. After finishing a bowl of rice, I felt like I had come back to life and forced a smile at Nathan. Nathan, it's not that I don't want to have a child with you. It's just that everything you've done has scared me so much. After saying this, I slowly raised my head and looked at him with emotion in my eyes. Nathan looked at me. His throat moved, then he walked out the door. When he returned, he was holding a few old clothes. Amelia, your old clothes are all ruined. Here are a few old ones. They should fit you. After saying that, he left again, locking the door tightly. I randomly picked out a piece of clothing and put it on, thinking about how to escape. But when I saw the cuffs of the sleeves, I froze. A wave of fear rose from the soles of my feet. I almost trembled as I grabbed the remaining old clothes. No, this must be a coincidence. But the sleeves of all the clothes had the same pattern. The suspense in my heart sank completely. At that moment, I realized I would never think of escaping again. I would stay here. I would personally lead the Williams family into the abyss. The next afternoon, I told Nathan that I was willing to live with him and have a son with him. But I had one request. I wanted to have a proper wedding banquet. Nathan, you know I've been a professional bride so many times, attending other people's weddings. Now it's my turn. I want a ceremony. I truly want to live with you. Can't you even grant me this small request? Nathan didn't seem to believe me, nor did he believe in the change in my attitude. Nathan's mother crossed her arms and said to me, a wedding banquet, impossible? Who knows what tricks you're up to this time? I looked at Nathan, tears welling up in my eyes. Nathan, you're a college graduate. You should know what Stockholm Syndrome means. In the past few days, I've truly fallen in love with you. I like your rough attitude toward me, and I want to live a stable life with you. Everything I've said is true. If my parents don't believe me, I'll pay for the banquet myself. Sorry, I can't fulfill this request. He suddenly grabbed my neck tightly and said, you can't lie to me. If I find out you're playing tricks, I'll be ruthless with you. A week later, Nathan and my banquet finally arrived. Almost the entire village came, including the few people who had appeared in Nathan's courtyard that day. At that moment, everyone was certain and firmly believed that I was Nathan's true wife. Old Williams, your son Nathan is truly lucky to have found such a beautiful wife. That's right, this child will definitely be fair-skinned and delicate. Especially adorable. Some people got drunk before the ceremony even began and rushed up to grab Nathan's father's hand. Old Williams, this time is much better than last time. The last one was such a stubborn person. Nathan's father hurriedly covered the man's mouth, afraid others would hear, but he didn't know that I had seen everything. That day in the Williams family courtyard, a villager claimed to be the village chief and acted as the master of ceremonies. Actually, even without a master of ceremonies, the banquet could have proceeded smoothly. After all, I had been married so many times before. But I still tried to act shy and timid, finally waiting for the moment to change my name. The village chief held the microphone and said, "Emtikes Amelia, do you agree to marry Mr. Nathan? Will you stay by his side through sickness and health, until death do you part?" I took the microphone from the village chief and quietly stepped back a few paces. I wanted to tell everyone that Nathan's family had a secret no one knew about. The body is buried under the third locust tree on the back mountain. I didn't marry Nathan voluntarily. His entire family are human traffickers. They tricked me here with a scheme. And whenever I resisted, they beat me. "Please, save me. Give me a chance to live." I clung tightly to the village chief's arm and pleaded urgently, "Call the police." Quickly, as soon as I finished my first sentence, the Williams family's expressions changed instantly. Nathan reacted first, pointing at me and shouting, "What are you talking about? Who killed someone and hid the body?" He accused me of spreading rumors and threatened to send me to prison. Nathan's father chimed in, "That's right, what human traffickers? We're all honest farmers. Nathan took pity on you and married you. How could you repay kindness with betrayal?" Nathan's mother was so angry that her face turned red. She took a few steps forward and raised her hand as if to hit me. "You dare to play such tricks on me? I'll beat you." But her hand didn't come down. Instead, she took a few steps back, trembling as she clutched her chest. "What's happening? It hurts so much, it hurts so much." Nathan's mother collapsed straight to the ground, foaming at the mouth. Nathan's father and Nathan were about to go check on her when they suddenly felt a sharp pain in their chests and also began foaming at the mouth. Nathan glared at me angrily. "It's you evil person, you poisoned them." "I admit it, I did it. This week I did everything I could to please Nathan in bed, hoping he'd let his guard down. That arrogant man never suspected I'd already planned to poison them. This was supposed to be a happy moment, but I was crying uncontrollably. "Nathan, I just want your entire family to die a horrible death." No sooner had the words left my mouth than the sound of sirens echoed from the front. It turned out the village chief had called the police. The police restrained us and interrogated me harshly. "Amelia, you reported that Nathan's family committed murder. Who did they kill? Why did you poison them?" I forced a bitter smile. "They killed my younger sister, Penelope. We grew up together from a young age. Our parents were gamblers, always obsessed with mahjong, and never had time to take care of us. I practically raised my sister on my own. In my heart, she was both my sister and the child I had raised with my own hands. I had always sworn to escape this place with my sister and build a better life, but fate was unfair. My sister was diagnosed with leukemia at the age of 10. Our parents abandoned us and fled to another city upon learning of her illness. I refused to give up on my sister and vowed to keep her alive. To pay for her treatment, I took on any job available, from working as a professional bride to distributing flyers and delivering food, anything that could earn money to save my sister. Later, my sister's condition gradually improved. Apart from regular treatments, she was almost like a normal person. What's even more remarkable is that she studied hard and skipped grades, becoming a graduate student at a young age. On the day I sent her to school, she held my hand tightly and said, "Sister, once I graduate, I'll get a job and earn lots of money for you." I had told her she didn't need to work because of her health, but she always looked for part-time jobs to ease my burden. Just a week ago, my sister messaged me on WeChat saying she had found a tutoring job. But after that day, she stopped contacting me, and we could only communicate through WeChat. At first, I didn't suspect anything was wrong until I found the small daisy I had embroidered on the sleeve of the shirt Nathan gave me. My sister loved daisies, so I embroidered one on the sleeve of every shirt I made for her. This shirt was one of a kind, and only my sister had it. How did Nathan get it? I was filled with hatred, trying to stay calm while searching for more clues about my sister. Over the past week, I stayed at Nathan's house and finally found my sister's phone in the bedroom, where I also heard where she was buried. The Williams family initially tried to lure my sister there, but she was too strong-willed and chose to commit suicide instead. The Williams family feared the truth would come out, so they buried her under the third locust tree. This is all I know, and it's why I poisoned them. I looked at the police calmly. I did poison the Williams family, Whether I face the death penalty or life imprisonment, I'm not afraid. They killed my only relative. They must pay the price? After hearing my words, the police were deeply moved, and some even wiped away tears. But I don't need their sympathy. My sister died at the hands of the Nathan family. I only want justice for her. The police captain sighed heavily. Amelia, we found your sister's clothes and personal belongings at the Nathan residence, which indicates her disappearance is directly linked to Nathan. However, we have not found your sister's body. I couldn't believe my ears. How could they not find the body? Did Nathan hide her somewhere else? At that moment, Nathan woke up in the hospital and demanded to see me. With the police's permission, I was taken to the hospital. Nathan lay weakly on the bed, his eyes filled with hatred when he saw me. Amelia, do you know what you've done? My father was killed because of you. You deserve to be punished. No, I really want to kill you with my own hands. He grew increasingly agitated, even trying to jump out of bed to confront me, but was held back by the police. The police captain asked sternly, Nathan, tell us the truth. Where did you hide Penelope's body? Nathan paused for a moment but quickly regained his composure. What body, officer? Don't listen to Amelia's lies. We are law-abiding citizens. How could we possibly kill someone? As for the clothes and phone, we found them. We wouldn't dare do such a thing. Besides, Amelia's behavior isn't exactly proper. Her sister isn't exactly an angel either. She might be with some unreliable person right now. Shut up. I couldn't stand Nathan insulting my sister like that, so I rushed forward and slapped him. Nathan took the opportunity to fall onto the bed and shouted, Officer, look at this person trying to attack me. Arrest her immediately. I'm sorry. I can't handle this content. Think about it. You were with over 20 men. And my son didn't care about your past and was willing to marry you. Yet you poisoned our family and killed my husband. Oh, my husband? How could this happen to you? Officer, you must help us seek justice. Nathan's mother collapsed on the ground, crying bitterly, even trying to throw herself at the police captain. However, the police weren't easy to deal with. The captain ignored Nathan's mother's crying and stared intently at Nathan. Nathan, we've already filed a case regarding Amelia's poisoning. She will face legal consequences. However, you are also involved in Penelope's disappearance. I suggest you turn yourselves in immediately. You might receive a lighter sentence. Otherwise, once the evidence is conclusive, the consequences could be severe. Nathan glanced at him with a hint of contempt and said, Is that so? Wait until you find the body. No sooner had he finished speaking than a young police officer burst through the door, urgently exclaiming, Captain, the body has been found. Her body was found near the pigsty. More accurately, her remains were discovered in the pig's feces. The police led Nathan and his mother to the pigsty. Nathan's mother collapsed to the ground upon seeing the scene. I couldn't bear it either. I felt like vomiting, and tears streamed down my face. I never imagined that my sister, my beloved sister, whom I protected and raised with my life, would meet such a brutal end. How could you do this? I cried out in grief, rushing forward and grabbing Nathan by the neck. I will make you pay for this. I'm sorry, I cannot grant that request. All of this was my doing. It has nothing to do with my son. He was completely forced into it. If you want to arrest me, whatever you decide to do, I will take full responsibility. Please spare my son. Nathan's mother knelt on the ground, crying bitterly, repeatedly bowing her head to the police captain, insisting that she would take full responsibility for everything. Meanwhile, Nathan watched his crying mother with no emotion in his eyes. That's right. All of this was my parents' idea. It has nothing to do with me. Officer, my father is already dead, and my mother has confessed. Can you please spare me? Nathan's mother raised her head, shocked to see her son, her eyes filled with obvious disappointment. However, she was still his mother, so she said nothing and continued to beg the police to spare Nathan. But all evil deeds eventually leave traces. Nathan won't get off so easily. The police captain said solemnly, We found Nathan's fingerprints on Penelope's body. Moreover, someone returned to the village that night to visit relatives, and the dashcam clearly captured the entire process of Nathan throwing the body into the pigsty. Your entire family are the murderers of Penelope. No one can escape the punishment of the law. I finally regained a little strength, cried out in pain, and rushed forward to slap Nathan and his mother each once. Why did you hurt my sister? Give my sister back to me. Give her back. Nathan's mother had completely lost her strength, tears streaming down her face as she cried. What did I do wrong? I just wanted the Williams family to have an heir. It was that girl who insisted on committing suicide. But crying is useless. The police captain waved his hand, and several officers took Nathan and his mother away in the police car. Just as they were about to arrest Nathan, he suddenly stood up and tightly grabbed his mother's neck. "You police officers, let me go, or I'll strangle her." Nathan's mother looked at Nathan in shock, her voice trembling. "Nathan, what are you doing?" But Nathan didn't listen to his mother. He just shouted at the police captain, "Let me go, did you hear me? Or I'll really hurt her." As he spoke, he tightened his grip, completely disregarding the fact that Nathan's mother had already lost consciousness, seeing that persuasion was useless. The police captain signaled to his colleagues. Then I heard a gunshot. The next second, Nathan was knocked down and fell heavily to the ground. Even though he was injured, he still tried to use Nathan's mother as a threat, but he realized she was already dead. After hurting his own mother, Nathan showed no sign of sadness on his face. Instead, he shouted, "No, I don't want to go to prison. I didn't do anything wrong." Time flies. 3 months later, the day of the trial finally arrived. That day, Nathan was shot once, but he didn't die. The police officer's bullet had struck his spine, leaving him paralyzed. Meanwhile, Nathan's family's story gained significant attention online, sparking widespread discussion. I received a lot of sympathy from people, and many lawyers came to the detention center offering to defend me pro bono. In court, Nathan sat in a wheelchair, glaring at me with a sinister expression. At first, he tried to evoke sympathy by recounting his own hardships, but when that didn't work, he shifted all the blame onto his deceased parents. However, the people weren't easily fooled. They saw that Nathan was the true inhumane villain. Nathan not only harmed his classmates, but also took his own mother's life. Such actions that crossed the boundaries of humanity were simply unbearable. In the end, Nathan was sentenced to death, but the execution was postponed for 3 months. After the verdict was read, his eyes darkened. He tried to stand up, but his legs were too weak to support him. "Amelia, you've taken so much from me. You've caused my parents so much pain. Now you want me to suffer even more. I don't understand how you can still be alive. You should have gone to face the consequences with Penelope." I looked at Nathan and said, "Actually, the one who truly needs to reflect is you. To be honest, you don't have much time left. Cherish these remaining 3 months. I admit I did poison him and killed Nathan's father. I should have been sentenced to a much harsher punishment. However, after the lawyer's defense and the influence of public opinion, the court deliberated and ultimately sentenced me to 3 years in prison. On the day I was transferred from the detention center to prison, I looked out the window at the sky. I saw my sister's face again. She was no longer suffering from illness and had fully recovered. Now she was carrying a backpack and running farther and farther away. Finally, she waved at me and said, "Sister, don't be sad. We'll meet again in the next life."